So before that, just let me quickly tell you all and remind you. Okay, doing great. And how about you? Okay, Paridhi, I am very good. Thank you so much for asking me this thing. Okay. So let me quickly remind you that yesterday we have started learning about the Google Colab, that basically what is a Google Colab and how we work on that. Then we have moved towards the topic which was types of operator, in which we have like seen three types of operator. Okay, just like quickly, can you just name all these three operators which we have learned yesterday? Quickly in the chat box. Arithmetic. Okay, Siddhi. The first one was arithmetic. Assignment. Okay, Siddhi. Okay, Karthi. Arithmetic. Shalini. Arithmetic. Karthi. Assignment. Simran. Assignment comparison. Vishweta. Assignment comparison. Sanket. Assignment. Okay, relational assignment. Logical assignment. Logical bitwise comparison. Comparison assignment arithmetic. Okay, Pranjul. Rohit assignment. Siddhi comparison. Okay. So from this, I just get a proper overview that you all remember that what were the types of operators which we have discussed yesterday. Okay, Paridhi. Okay. So these were the topics of types of operators which we have discussed. Okay, Paridhi, membership. Okay, 7 types. Yes, Vipul, very true that there are 7 types of total operators in Python. Very true. Now, then we have discussed about keywords and identifiers, where we have seen the basic rules for writing identifiers, right? So there we have just seen that there were 5 rules. Okay, so can anyone unmute yourself and tell me all the 5 rules which I just told you yesterday for a quick revision? Or even you want to write in the chat box, so you are like always allowed to write the things in the chat box. But I would feel that very good that someone will come and tell me all the 5 points. Can unmute himself or herself and tell me the points. Okay, Karthi, you want to say something?
Yeah, rules for identifiers. It will not be start with a digit.
Okay.
And it can be of any length. Keywords must not be used because it already have reserved for some special purposes.
Okay.
Two symbols are not allowed.
Okay.
Underscore can be used and it can be of any combination like in the following rules.
Okay, very well
numbers
done.
can be followed with something. Yeah.
Very
Numbers can
well
be followed by some words. I mean letters.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Okay. Very well done. Very well done, Karthi. Hats off to you. Very well done. You have just unmute yourself and tell me all the 5 points. That's a very great thing. Okay, so I have some answers in the chat box, even that symbols are not allowed, can be combination, cannot start with digit, special symbols cannot be used, not a keyword, special symbols not allowed. Okay, fine. Right, so I just like hope that you all remember whatever the things which we have discussed yesterday. Cannot be too lengthy. Okay, Shalini. So these were the things which we have discussed yesterday, and today we are going to see about data types and typecasting. Fine. So we are just going to see that what are data types and what is the typecasting, and basically there are 2 types of typecasting. So we are just going to see all that things. So just let me start presenting my screen for a second, and here I will do start and then share. Okay. Okay, people cannot start with digit and length. Okay, fine. Very good. Okay, so quickly confirm that is my screen visible to every one of you?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Shalini. Thank you, Karthi. Okay, Simran, Prajakta, Ma'am. Fine, guys, fine. Okay, so let's move towards the presentation for today, and that is for data types and typecasting. So today we are going to see that what are data types and basically how do we do typecasting and what does this typecasting mean. Fine, let's get started with that. Now here I have written one sentence, and that sentence is data types, right? Here I have written variables can hold values and values have data types, right? So like just give me an overview or just hint that what you all understand from this line what I have written here, and that is variables can hold values and values have data types. Can you all just quickly give me an overview? Yeah, someone want to say something. Okay, so I must check the chat box for that. Okay, fine. Yeah, what sentence I have said? That variables, here it is written, variables can hold values and values have data types, right? So can you just give me an overview? Basically, what does this mean? What I have written, like what idea do you get from this sentence, whatever I have written here?
The variables are variables which can store values, and values uh, like numbers. And in numbers, there are numbers like float, integers, and variables also can store strings. There we can store any type of string. So
Okay, very well done, Sanket, very well done. Okay, Karthi, the values held by variables have data types specifically. Very right, Karthi. Rohit, values can be of numbers and character. Okay, fine. Vipul, variable could be, okay, could be ETX, okay, or in digit, okay, fine. Then it's like a storage place for variables. Absolutely right, absolutely true. Pranjal, values can be in any of any type data, like number which holds in float and complex which are stored in variables. Okay, fine. Rhythm, variables act like containers in which we store values, and the values which we store can be of any type like integer, float, char, etc. Very well done, very well done. Nice guys. So you all have just got the point that what I was just trying to tell you from this sentence. Okay, just let me explain now. Fine, that variables can hold values. Okay, fine. So what we have discussed, that let's say a is a variable, and in this variable, let's say I have stored a value that is 50. Fine. A is my variable in which I have stored a value that is 50. Fine. So this is the first line for my sentence, that is variables can hold values. So here my variable is a, and what it is basically doing, it is storing a value that is 50. Now what about my second line, and values have data type? So basically, what kind of data is this? This 50, the number which I have written, that is 50, it is an integer data type, right? So basically integer, that is plus minus, right? That like goes from minus infinity to plus infinity, that are known as integers, right? So basically here what I have the data type. Now, the value which I have entered here, it has a particular data type. Let's say here I have entered the value that is 50, right? Let's say I just take another example. I write b is equal to 13.5. Now, this 13.5 is having another data type, rather than it is a value, right? But it is having another data type. So this is the thing that I want to explain you from here, and this is a very very good line, very understandable line. So if you just like say this line in front of someone, so like okay, this is a very nice line, right? That variables can hold values and values have data types. Now, okay, so just quickly list the data types, whatever you know, in the chat box. Whatever are the data types which you know, just name them in the chat box. Quickly, I want to see that basically what, okay, Prajakta, variables are assigned values and the data type depends on the assigned values. Okay, fine. Absolutely right, Prajakta. Absolutely right. Okay, Prem Narayan, integer, fine. Okay, Aditi, int, Prem Narayan, char, Ria, okay, string, integer, boolean, character, Simran, okay, fine, Siddhi, int, okay, Swetha, bool, Siddhi, float, okay, Prajakta, double, Sanket, int, float, char, double, boolean, okay, bool, okay, Siddhi, double, Aditi, input, okay. Okay, Aditi, I just want to ask a question from you. Is input, you can say, is input a data type? Okay, Ketana, int float char, okay, fine. Pranjal, int double char bool string. Okay, fine. Guys, so Karthi has listed all the list. Fine, right. So here you all know that what are the basic data types, right? You all have studied C++ or some other languages, but now there's a little different case in Python. In Python, we have the data type that you all have listed, that are strings and integer, float, double, boolean. But other than that, we have three more important data types, right? So just let me name those three. So for that, I would just show you this chart, and yeah, okay, fine. So basically here is a chart which is representing Python data types, right? So in this Python data types, what we have: numeric, dictionary, boolean, set, and sequence type. Now, this numeric is having sub numbers, okay, that is integer, complex number, and float, right? You all know about integer, that what are integer, what are complex number, what are float. You all know that things, right? And then when we move towards the sequence type, so in sequence type, you know that what are strings, right? You all know that what is a string. But now here is that list and tuple. Now, list, tuple, and dictionaries, these three are the different data types in Python which we have. Okay, so basically all these three, what they do, they store the values in themselves, right? So basically you can say they are a type of container in which you can store different values in the sense you can store strings, you can store float, you can store integer values, you can store everything in a single list, fine, single container. So basically that are referred as list, tuple, and dictionary. But there are some exceptions, there are some conditions. So that we will be dealing afterwards. But for now, just understand that these are all the Python data types which we have in Python programming, right? And other than these strings, integer, and float, the common ones are list, tuple, and dictionary. So basically these six are the very common ones in Python programming. Fine. So just quickly let me know, is this clear? And do you have any doubts regarding this thing, whatever I have just said right now? Okay, Vipul, okay, then you have mentioned nice, very nice. Okay, Siddhi, no ma'am, fine. Guys, any doubts, any queries regarding the topic just now, what we have discussed, that is data type? Any questions? Okay. Okay. Okay, quickly, just let me know that is there any doubt or no doubts. Quickly. Don't take too much of time in responding yes and no. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, someone is having a doubt. You can just keep your doubt and we'll just discuss your doubt at the last of the class, okay? Or you can even like unmute yourself and then ask. So because like I'm not too much of active in the chat box because I need to just open the new tabs and tell you the thing. So that is why if you have any doubts, you can just unmute yourself or keep your doubt like for the last. So for the at last, we will discuss all the doubts, whatever you are having. Fine. Now, so here what I just told about the data types. Now just let me go to OneNote here, for a second and fine. Okay, fine. So here what I was telling you about, the data types, right? So now here in Python what we have. So yeah, int you all know, right? So integer data types you all know, and you all know float one, fine. Okay, so that's FLOAT, float you all know. Now so the ones, yeah, like you were saying that you have character, or you were saying that we have a data type also, that is character. Yes, you all are right, we have a character data type. But basically in Python, how we write that? We write as str, fine. So we have a data type in Python, that is string. So that string data type is denoted by str, fine. So whenever you see that something somewhere it is written str, so you can just quickly guess it up that okay, this is a string, fine. Now, next rule, that whatever is written inside these semicolons, that is always treated as a string. Now, just pay more attention towards my words, whatever I am saying. If whatever is written inside these semicolons, that is always treated as a string, no matter it is written characters, no matter you have written numbers, no matter you have written float values. Nothing matters there. The thing that matters is these semicolons. If you have written anything inside these semicolons, so that will always be treated as the string. Fine. Now, let's say I have written this A, B, C inside this string, inside this semicolon. This will be treated as str. Now, one question from my side. What is the data type for this? 1, 2, 3. Quickly. Let me know that what is the data type for this 1, 2, 3 in the chat box. So let me just open that. String. Okay. Quickly. More answers. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So from this, I just got to know that you all are listening me very carefully, because just now I just said a sentence and just you all followed that no matters what is written inside these semicolons, it is written character, or you have written numbers, or you have written float values, nothing like that. If you have written something inside these semicolons, so that is always be treated as string, and this is also my str data type. Fine. So this was about int, float and string. Now let's quickly move towards the list, tuple and dictionaries, which I was just telling you. Fine. I have a list here, I have tuples here, and I have dictionaries here. So here just what I am telling you that how basically we write a list, how basically we define a tuple, and how we define a dictionary. I'm not going to like tell you the program today, because we will be covering this topic either tomorrow or on the fourth day. Fine. So for today I would just only tell you that basically how we write list, how we store a list. Fine. So whenever you see something written inside these large brackets, you can call them as large bracket, or you can just big brackets, whatever you wish. Fine. So whenever you see something written inside these large brackets, so that is always a list. If someone comes to you, someone shows you any output, or someone shows you a variable in which you find these brackets, so you can just quickly tell that okay, this is a list. Fine. You can just quickly identify that this is a data type, and that data type is the list. If you see something written inside these small brackets, right? If you see something written inside this small bracket, so that is always treated as tuple. Now, when we basically write print statement, that we always write print statement in these like small brackets. No, but that is not treated as a tuple. That is not a tuple. So basically, whenever you find some numbers or some strings stored inside these small brackets, you can quickly say that this is the tuple data type. And whenever you find something is stored in these curly brackets, so you can quickly say that this is the dictionary's data type, right? So what is the basic use of all these three? So basically, these three are used for storing of the data, for storing multiple data types. You can just have a clear view that all of these three are used for storing multiple data types. Multiple data types in the sense like you have written these brackets, right? So inside these brackets, you can store a string also. You can store you can say integer, float value. You can store an integer value, and you can store a double, or you can store a boolean value. You can store everything inside this list. Fine. Now, the case is not with tuples and dictionaries. We will discuss all these things later on. But I just told that how we basically denote this list, tuple and dictionary. So basically, this is the way how you declare and how you write list, tuple and dictionaries. Now, quickly let me know that is this thing clear to everyone? Guys, am I not audible to all of you? Okay, yes, clear. Okay, fine. Yes, fine. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Now, I just told you. Fine. So basically, we have to discuss about the data type. Now, let's say if you want to check that what is the we have a variable, and in that variable what data type we have stored, right? And we want to just check that thing. So while using our Python program, how we can do that? Fine. So let's do one thing. I have written a is equal to, and let's say I would write ABC. Fine. So I have just stored a string in my variable, that is a. Fine. Here I would write my print statement. Now, there's a function, that function is type, type. So basically that function is used for telling and for checking that what data type do your, what data type is your variable having. Let's say I want to check that in A, what data type I have stored. Fine. So what I would do, I would write print. Inside this print, I would use a function that is type. Okay. And inside this type, I will use the variable. For that variable, I want to check. Let's say I want to check for A that what is the basic data type which my A variable is storing. So I would write print, in bracket I would write type, and inside this type I would write the variable, that is A. Now when I would run this, I would just get that this is a string variable. Okay, sorry, this is a string data type. Fine. Now, why did I get this class and these angular brackets? We will not discuss about these things for now. Okay, so for now, what you need to just concentrate is that you have got the data type, and that data type is string. Let's say I just want to change it. I would write 143. Now when I will run, I will again get that it is a string. Let's say I just remove this semicolon and let's say I write 13.7, fine. And now when I would run, I would get that this is a float, fine. So basically this is how you check that this is the data type that your variable belong to, fine. So is this code is this function clear to everyone? Okay, fine. Okay, Simran. Okay, Ishika. Okay, Siddhi. Okay, Sweta. Okay, Aditi. Okay, Rohit. Okay, Sanket. Okay, Chaveria. Okay, Sweta. Okay, Prajakta. Okay, Karthi. Fine, fine. Okay, Prem Narayan. Okay, fine. So this was about this type function. Now we would be moving quickly towards the typecasting. Fine. So okay. Okay, before just moving towards the typecasting, can any one of you let me know that do you know about typecasting? Type of object is type of the class is object, right? Yes, Pranjal, the type of the type of class is object. Fine. Right, absolutely right. Yes, conversion. Okay, Prem Narayan, you know that conversion. Fine. Okay, Shweta, no problem. We will just discuss with the very basics of the typecasting. But for now, just let me have an overview that how many of you are familiar with the typecasting. Fine. Okay, Shweta, no issues. Rohit. Yes, changing one data type to another. Absolutely correct, Rohit. You are absolutely right. And someone, okay, people, you don't know, no issues. We'll just discuss in a while. Siddhi, converting data types. Yes, absolutely right. That is converting data types. Fine. So, like some of you know and some of you do not know. So that's not the issue. Let's quickly move towards the next slide. Fine. So, okay. Okay, fine. Just let me do one thing and here let me open this one. Okay, fine. So here I have typecasting. So the conversion of one data type to another is called typecasting. So whenever you want to convert one data type into another data type, then we use typecasting. Fine. This was the basic definition for typecasting. Now there are basically two types of typecasting, that is implicit typecasting and that is explicit typecasting. Right? So we will be discussing about both of these today only. Now let me go to OneNote and let me quickly ask you a very basic mathematics question. Fine. Let me hold my pen and let me just take a different color. Fine. Okay. Just quickly let me know that whenever in basic mathematics, whenever you add 10 plus 20.2, whenever you add 10 plus 20.2, what answer you get? What is the addition of 10 plus 20.2? Okay, Rohit 30.2, okay, Prajakta 30.2, Simran 30.2, and okay, fine, 30.2, Sanket 30.2, Kabilesh 30.2, Inla 30.2, Chitasha 30.2, Aditi, okay, fine, absolutely right, guys, this is absolutely right. So from here what you will get that whenever you add an integer and a float, you always get a float value. Now can I just receive an answer from any one of you that why is it so? Like why when you add an integer and why when you add a float value, you always get the output in the float value only? Right, you can give the answer in technical terms also. If you just know about typecasting, so you can just give the answer in that terms also. Whenever you add integer and whenever you add float value, why you always get the output in float? Why you never get the output in integer? Any answers? Anyone want to tell something? Float has higher precedence than int in type conversion. Absolutely right, Raja Lakshmi. Absolutely right. The integer data type implicitly changed to float data type. Okay, Rohit. Prem Narayan Singh. Yeah, that's typecasting. Yes, typecasting is applied here. Yes, you're right. You all three are right. Okay, Siddhi decimal. Okay, Siddhi, what you just mean by decimal? Can you just explain it a little brief that what you want to say from decimal? Double has higher precedence. Okay, Pranjal? Yeah. Okay, fine. Double has higher precedence. That is absolutely right. But here what we are discussing about integer and float. Fine. So yeah, you're right that double has higher precedence. Fine. Precedence like that. Okay, fine. Okay, fine, Siddha. So you want to say that decimal has higher precedence than integer. Fine. Okay, fine. Yeah. So some of you have just given me the correct answer that basically when we add a integer and a float value, sorry, why we always get the output in float? That conversion is only known as implicit type conversion. So the thing that I just explained to you using the basic mathematics term, that is only known as implicit type conversion. So the type of conversion in which the data type is converted to other automatically. Now what does this sentence mean? Let's say, fine. Okay, let quickly give me a answer. Okay, I will just ask a question from every one of you and give me the answer for that question. Fine, let me go to OneNote. Okay, let me write it here. Let's say I have written a is equal to 20. Fine, I have written a is equal to 20. Let's say I'm writing all these things in my programming. I'm writing all these things in the programming language, right? Let's say I've written a is equal to 20. I have written b is equal to 5.6. Fine. I have written c is equal to a plus b, and then I would print c. Now, what output will I get here? What will be the final output that I would be getting? Quickly let me know that what will be the final output that I would be getting in the chat box, and let me check. Okay, that's 25.6. Fine. Okay, that's 25.6. And okay, Inla, you are saying that the output which you will be getting is 25. Inla, can you just like brief a little bit that how we will get the answer in 25? Okay, rest are saying that it is 25.6. Okay. Okay, no need to worry. That's totally fine. If you like, no need to be a little bit nervous also, fine. Okay, Aditi, you are also saying that you would be getting the answer as 25. So can I just get a little bit explanation, or you have just like, you are a little bit confused or something like that? Can I just know that thing? Okay,
Ma'am,
fine.
we have not
Yeah.
classified one point, like we have not classified as int or float or int. So it will only add the int values, not the float one.
Okay, Aditi. Okay, fine, Aditi. If C is integer, it will return. Okay, Rohit, if C is integer, it will return 25. Okay, guys. Now, guys, just listen to my words that I'm just saying carefully. That what I told you yesterday, that in Python, what we do, we do not specify any data type. Here, what we do, we only write that okay, a is equal to 10, b is equal to 12.4, and c is equal to a plus b. Here, no matters that I have given a return type to my variables or not. Let's say Rohit is saying that if c is integer, it will return 25. Rohit, here in Python, what we do, we do not like specify any data type. It automatically takes the data type on its own. When I have written a is equal to 10, so compiler automatically understands that okay, this a variable is storing a value, a integer value. Fine. When I have written b is equal to 10.6, so it is automatically, the compiler is automatically understanding that okay, fine, you have stored a float value in this. Fine. Now just give me an answer that when I will store a integer value and when I would store a float value, what output will I get? The final output which I get will be in integer or in float. Aditi, can I just have an answer from you?
We will
Okay.
get it in integer, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Let's go and see an example for this. Okay, let's go and see an example for this. Fine. Let's say I have written a is equal to 10. Fine. Let's say I have taken a variable that is a and I will store the value as 10. Now what I am doing, I am taking another variable and here I am storing a float value that is, let's say, 12.6. Now I would do c is equal to a plus b. Fine. When I would write print and see. Now when I would run my code, see what output will I be getting. I am getting 22.6. That is a float value. Now why I am getting, just let me quickly explain you the reason. This is because of the implicit type conversion. Now here comes the role for implicit type conversion, that the type of conversion in which the data type is converted to other automatically. Fine. Let's check one thing here. The program which we have written just now, let's check that what is the data type for A, what is the data type for B, and what is the data type for C. Fine. So here I would write print, and okay, this is not the like, okay, I would write print, and here I would write type, and here I would in bracket write A. Then I would write again print, I would write type, and in bracket I would write B, and I would do the same thing for C also. I would write print, and here I would write type, and here I would write C. Now when I would run my program, see the output which I would be getting. See what I get the output from type A. For type A I got that is integer. Yes, that is fine. What I got for B, so for B I got that it is a float data type. Fine, that is also fine. Now what I got for C, I got that it is a float data type. Now why I am getting this float data type? Because we have taken the example in which we were having 10.6 and what we were having, just let me check the numbers. Okay, 10 plus 12.6. Fine. So that was, okay, just let me erase. And okay, fine. Okay, so that was 10 plus 12.6. Okay, so basically when I am just doing the addition for a float value and an integer value, right? Let's say I was doing this thing in not in programming language. Leave that this is a programming language. I am doing this thing on my own in basic mathematics. I am adding an integer value and I am adding a float value. Fine. So what output would I be getting? I would be getting 22.6. Now, what kind of output will I get? I would get a float value, right? In the output, I would be getting a float value. Let's say I just do this thing on a program, and for program I write A is equal to 10, I write B is equal to 12.6, and now I write C is equal to A plus B. Now what is this A plus B? Now my A plus B will be storing my final addition of A and B, and that is 22.6, right? So whenever I would write C is equal to 22.6, what it will result me? What data type will it get me? It will give me the data type as float, right? So that is the main reason that why I am getting that C is equal to float. So basically this is the reason why I am getting this C. When I have done C is equal to A plus B, so I am getting a float value, and when I just check that what is the data type for C, so in that data type also I am getting the output that is float data type. Now Aditi, Rohit, and one more Inla. Just quickly, and Simran also, just quickly let me know that is this thing clear to everyone? Okay Aditi, okay fine, very good. Okay Simran, very nice. Okay, Inla, very good. And one is left. Oh, who was Rohit? Okay, Rohit, very nice. So everyone has just got this point. Quickly let me know. What if you write A is equal to 12.6, B is equal to 10, then what will be the type of C? Okay, Sanket, if you are only writing C and you are not storing any value in it, then you are asking?
No, ma'am, after storing.
After storing what value? After storing A plus B. So you will be getting the float.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, like just see this example which I have just told here. What I have done, I have written C is equal to A plus B, right? And after that only I have printed the type for C. I would just want to check that what is the type. So now it is giving me the answer as float. Okay, Sanket, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Yeah, Kishan, C is equal to A plus B. Okay, fine. Very well done, guys. So now with this thing, I just want to show you one chart here that basically how this implicit type conversion works. So this implicit type conversion works on this chart only. Fine. So it will result you the output in that data type, which data type will be having the higher precedence. Now, in the chat box, some of you just told me that float value is having higher precedence than integer. Yes, you all were very absolutely right. Fine. So here this chart is going from lower to higher rank. Fine. So here what I am getting to know is that here from lowest to highest. So just now check out that integer is having a lower rank than float. you all are seeing, right? So integer is having a lower rank than float. So that is why, that is the only reason that whenever I am adding a integer and a float, I am getting the final output in float. Let's say you add float and long double. Let's say you take a value that is a float value, and let's say you take a value that is a long double. So you will be getting your final output in the long double form, not in the float. Now you will not get in the float because float is having lower precedence than long double. So this is the case if you are taking one lower rank and one higher rank data type. So the output which you will be getting will always be in the highest data type. The data type which is having the highest rank, the final output will always be in that data type only. Now, just quickly let me know that is this thing now everyone clear to you, that why when you add an integer and a float, you always get a float value? Why we like get this thing? Is this thing clear to every one of you?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Okay,
excuse me.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask that in JavaScript, the values have data type and the variable doesn't have data type.
Okay.
For example, in the C language,
Mm-hmm.
in the C language, when we write int C is equal to 20,
Mm-hmm.
then in C variable we cannot store any other kind of data.
Yeah, right.
Is this same in Python, or in Python also it is same as JavaScript?
Okay. See, Premnaran. So here what we do, we basically do not specify any data type here, right? Yeah, your question is that can I store a single value in this variable or can I store multiple values, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You can store a single value in Python.
Ma'am, however, if in the program you have written a is equal to 20, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Can
Say. Premnaran, you could just like. Okay, fine. Hold on. My voice is breaking. Fine. Okay, now is my voice clear to everyone? Okay, fine. Okay. Yes. Okay, fine. Okay, fine, Aditi. Yes, Prem Narayan, you can just again ask your question.
ma'am, can I speak in Hindi for
Yeah.
explaining?
Sure. Hindi.
Yes.
No issues.
मैम जैसे जावास्क्रिप्ट में हम कोई भी, जैसे हमने वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर किया ए, उसमें हम इंटीजर और फ्लोट दोनों ही स्टोर करवा सकते हैं एट किसी भी पॉइंट में प्रोग्राम पे। मैं पूछना चाह रहा हूँ कि क्या पाइथन में भी ऐसा कर सकते हैं?
नो यू आप सिर्फ उसमें एक ही डेटा टाइप स्टोर करा सकते हैं, मल्टीपल नहीं करा सकते। बिल्कुल नहीं। मल्टीपल
Yes,
अगर
ma'am,
आपको
जैसे
कराना है तो उसके लिए हम लोग लिस्ट यूज करते हैं, जो कि मैं आपको बताने वाली हूँ, आगे कल बताऊंगी। हम लोग बेसिकली लिस्ट यूज करते हैं उसके लिए।
ओके मैम।
Okay,
मैम।
Okay, fine. So the guys who like some of you must be here who do not understand Hindi. So just let me tell the question in English and the answer also in English. That Prem Narayan was asking that like in JavaScript we can store multiple data types in a variable, right? So can we do the same thing in Python also? So the answer for this is that normally you cannot do, but there is one data type which I just told everyone to you, that it is a list. So basically in list you can store multiple data types. You can store a string, you can store float, and you can store integer also, right? So this was the question and this was the answer. Fine. So everyone is just clear with the implicit type conversions. Let's quickly move towards the explicit type conversion. Fine, because today we need to just finish up this topic. Fine. Now, what is this explicit type conversion? So implicit type conversion, what we were just doing, There the thing was that we were adding an integer value and we were adding a float value. So with the addition of both these numbers, we were getting a final output as float. We were not doing anything here. We were just simply writing the code and we were getting the output in float value. Now, in explicit type conversion, what we do in this, we convert one data type into another data type on our own. Just listen the definition which I have written here, that in this data type of conversion, user has to convert the data type from one to another. So here you need to convert one data type to another data type on your own. Now what's the need of converting this one data type to another? Now just quickly answer one of my question. Yes, Prem Naran, absolutely right. Explicit done by S. Yes. Now I have a question with you all. Can you add a string and an integer value? Can we ever add a string and an integer value? Forget the ASCII codes. Forget that ASCII codes. Let's say I have written a string and let's say I have written an integer value. Can we add both of them? No. No. Okay. No. Okay, fine. Yes. You all are saying absolutely right. We cannot add a string and we cannot add a float and integer value. Now, so here comes the role and here comes the use of explicit type conversion. And let's say sometime we have a string and we have a integer and we want to just you can say add both of these. So there we use this explicit type conversion. Okay, fine guys, we cannot do that thing. Now let's quickly see that what's the syntax for like writing the explicit type conversion. So this is the syntax that you need to write the required data type and then expression. Now just let me go to the OneNote and here let me explain you the things. Fine. Okay. So now, fine, just 1 second. Fine. Let's take a very simple example. Now just give a little bit of more attention to this thing. Fine. I have written A is equal to, and let's say here I am storing a string. Fine. So here this is my string. You all know this thing. Let's say I have taken another variable and here let's say I have written integer value. Let's say my integer value is 20. Fine. Now this A is my variable which is storing a string and B is another variable which is storing an integer value. Fine. Now, if I just want to add both of them, what will I do? I will use the explicit type conversion. Now, what's the syntax for writing the explicit type conversion? If you want to convert this string, my variable A is storing the string, right? So, if you want to convert this string into integer value, what you will do? Firstly, you will write the variable name which you want to convert. Fine. I want to convert A, right? Because A is storing the string, right? A is having a string, so I want to convert A. So firstly what you will do, you will write the variable name which you want to convert. You will put an assignment operator. Fine. Now you will write that data type in which you want to convert. I want to convert this string, that is 1 2 3, into integer, right? So I would write int. Now what I want to do, now here I would write that variable which I want to convert. I want to convert A. So I have written A is equal to int B. Now this integer is the required data type in which I want to convert my variable A. And inside this brackets, I would write that variable which I want to convert. Fine. So this is the basic syntax for using the and writing the explicit type conversion. Now let's move towards the Google Colab and let's see a practical application for this. Okay, fine. So here let's just let me do one thing. Fine. Let's do write an example here. Let's say I have taken a value A is equal to 1. Fine. And here I will write B is equal to, and here I would write 10. Fine. Now just now only I told you that how we basically write the syntax for explicit type conversion. Fine. So can any one of you just tell me that if I just want to convert this B is storing my string, right? If I want to convert this B, that is my string, into integer, so what what syntax will I use? What code will I write? What will be the proper code which I need to write? What will be that? Can any one of you just let me know this thing in the chat box?
B is equal to int B.
Absolutely right, Aditi. Absolutely right. And Sanket, Ishika, Rohit, Kishan, absolutely right. Guys, very well done. And Hardik, Chitusha, very well done. So you all are just giving me the very correct answers. Okay, Akshita. Okay, fine. Very nice. Siddhi, very nice. Okay, Nikita, very well done. So you all are just giving me the very right answers, and I need to write B is equal to int, and in bracket I would write B. Fine. And now what I would do, let's say I just want to add them, so I would write C is equal to A plus B. And now after that I would print C. Now when I would run my program, the output which I would be getting will be 11. Fine. So this is the third step in which I had done my explicit type conversion. Let's say I just comment this thing. Okay. Now when I would run, now this will show me an error. That unsupported operand type for plus integer and a string. So basically it is saying that you cannot add integer and a string. And when I would just uncomment this thing and run this one, so I would get my required output, that is 11. Fine. So this was about the explicit type conversion. That basically this, like I told you the syntax, that how we just do explicit type conversion, and basically what is the use of doing this explicit type conversion. Now quickly let me know that are there any doubts regarding this explicit type conversion? Shall we write B is equal to int 10? Okay, fine. Okay, Karthi, you got the answer. Okay, just quickly let me know that is my voice breaking now also? Okay, fine.
No, ma'am.
Okay, Hardik. Okay, thank you so much for the confirmation. Okay, fine. Okay, Kishan. So now quickly let me know that is there any doubts regarding the implicit, explicit type conversion and date types? Do you all have any doubts regarding all of these three? Okay, no doubt. Oh, fine. Okay, fine. Now next thing which we would be learning is string slicing. We would be seeing that what is string slicing, and basically why we do this string slicing. Now okay, can anyone, okay, let's not jump into that question. I would not ask you. I would just tell you that what is string slicing. Now string slicing is a technique in which you obtain substring or some part of the string from your main string. Let's say I have a string, and let's say the name for that string is Shambhavi is a good girl. Fine. Now, if I just want to extract the word Shambhavi from this string, so what I would use a technique, and that technique is known as string slicing. Fine. Now, we'll be discussing this string slicing for tomorrow, but today I want to just tell you that how basically we find that what is the length of our string. Now, let's say I just declared a string, right? I wrote my underscore str, and let's say in this I am storing a list, and let's say that string is Shambhavi is a good girl. Fine. Let's say this is my string which I am just storing in this in the variable that is my underscore str. Now, let's say I want to find that what is the length of my string. What is the total length of my string? I want to find that. So for that I would use a function, and that function is called as len. It is like spelled as L-E-N. Fine. For that I would write print. Now inside this print statement, firstly what I would do, I would use len. Fine. I would write len, and inside this len function I would write my variable name, that for what variable you want to find the length of the string. So I want to find it for my underscore str, right? Because my underscore str is the variable name in which I have stored this string, that is Shambhavi is a good girl, right? Now I would just use this print statement. Inside this print statement I will use the function that is len, and inside this len I would use my underscore str. Fine. Now when I would run this, I would result an output, and that is 24. Now it is just telling me that okay, this 24 is the length for your string whatever you have stored in my underscore str. Fine. So this is how we find the length for any string. Now quickly let me know that is this len function clear to everyone? Okay, what you cannot understand? Aditi, Karthi, Please unmute yourself. Like the chart has
Yeah.
gone a little bit up. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Karthik.
Why should we not use like b is equal to int of string of 10 like that?
Okay, fine. Okay, let's do one thing. Why not run this one? Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Why not run this thing? Okay, you can do that. See, when you are just doing that, b is equal to int of, and in brackets you are writing these semicolons, and inside that you are writing a number. So that is automatically converted into integer. So you can just write that in place of this variable also. No issues with that, Karthi. No issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine,
Okay.
fine. Okay, fine. What was the
Madam,
next?
we should
Yes,
not
Aditi.
do the hard coding, no?
Yes, Aditi.
We should not do the hard coding, like we cannot directly put the values into statements. Like we can do in it print statement.
Yeah. Okay, fine. That's fine, Aditi. You are saying like true thing, but that hard coding thing refers when you are just writing long codes, or like when you are like a little bit of more into programming, right? This is a very starting and this is the very basic. So here, if you want, you can just use this. This is an alternative, like you can use. But what I would say, that what I would prefer is that you should always use the variable only. Fine. The next that there are in Python, there comes the time complexity, space complexity, all these things also come, right? So there, when you are using this variable inside the bracket, and whenever you are using this number, like number itself, then there's a like difference in the time complexity and space complexity also. So I always prefer to use this variable. But yeah, the question is that you can use this is like this 10 inside that. Fine, you can use, but I would like never prefer you, I would never say that to use that thing. That is why the reason I just did not tell you that you can even use this string. But like Karthi was having a question, so I just told you that you can even use this thing also. Okay, fine. Okay, Pranjal, you were just saying something that this includes white spaces, right? What was like? Is there some conversation going on? I'm not the part of that. Yes, it cannot be used like that. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, fine. So the conversation was going on the same topic. Fine. No issues. Fine, no issues. Okay. So, like guys, as you all know that I even have my YouTube channel. So just do like, subscribe, and share my channel also. And I'm just pasting the link in the chat box. Okay, so you can just like go and subscribe my channel and even share that with your friends also. Fine. Now, is there any doubts regarding that today's class? Okay, fine, Siddhi, fine. Any doubts regarding the topics which we have just discussed today? Okay, no, fine. Hardik, all clear, fine. Okay, Karthi, no ma'am. Okay, fine. Siddhi, okay, Ishika. Okay, Javeria, okay, Simran, okay, Aditi. Okay, Siddhi, okay, Rohit, okay, Inla. Okay, Prajakta. Okay, Sanket. Okay, guys. Okay, Akshita. Okay. So, whatever I have just told you yesterday and today, you just need to have a practice for all of that things, and do practice whatever the concepts which I am just telling you. No doubts at all. Okay, Paridhi. Okay, Faridhi. So, basically, when you just practice the thing, so you will not forget that. Okay, this is the very basic, and if you just got the basics very clearly, so afterwards you will not be having any doubts, any problem in writing the complex codes, in going for hackathons, in going in the code shifts and all that thing, right? The basics should be very clear. So for that you need to have a little bit practice also. So you can just like do some questions, practice some questions. Okay, so you can just do all that things. So this is all from my side for today's lecture. Thank you so much guys for being so much wonderful audience, and like you were just responding me in a very good manner. So thank you for this responses, and thank you for this interaction. If you have any doubts, you can just ask that doubts with me. Thanks for this